Get Warrior Tough, Mental Training 101 with Andrew Wittman and Dutch Coleman. And now back to Andrew and Dutch.
All right, we're back. It is Mental Training 101. We're not even scratching the surface when we're doing this show. We're trying to just make you aware of stuff. If you're really serious about making changes, you're really serious, then you got to get in touch with us. You call the office at 864-977-1443. That's 864-977-1443, or get to the website, getwarriortough.com. Reach out to Dutch and I on Twitter. Dutch is at @DutchColeman. I'm at Warrior Tough PhD. Find us on LinkedIn. Find a way to. There's nothing. You know what, Dutch? This has been such a life changer for me, and you and I have seen it's not anecdotal anymore, right? We have affected lives. We've affected organizations. You and I were talking today about how we've started from organizations in the middle and then had it spread both ways, bottom to the top, right, from the middle. That we've had organizations where we've started at the bottom, right, and then it's gone all the way up to the executive leadership. And we've started with organizations where they've gotten our stuff from the executive leadership and then they pushed it down. It doesn't matter where you start. This stuff is it's a game changer.
It's what the young folks today call viral. It goes viral within an organization. Just like a virus that consumes it, we consume the organization with the right positivity, with the right culture, with the right language, with the right tool, skill set. We do all those things. And like Andrew just said, whether it's from the bottom to the top to the bottom, middle, spread out, we have seen it and we know it's coming. We've seen people say, well, we want to start out with the executive team, and we're okay with that because we know what's going to happen.
Yep,
we know when once we sink our teeth into the executive team, they're going to say, you know what? I wish my subordinates had this, man. Can we bring you guys back in? I need you to get this group and that group and that group. And we start at the bottom, and we've had executive management say, hey, what did you tell those guys?
Yeah, because they're pushing us, man. We got to get everybody else in here because, and then we've started with like the middle, the first line supervisors and had to push both ways in both directions.
Absolutely. That is not made up. And it's fascinating the way it happens because it's to the point where we in the beginning, we may have recommended a certain way depending on the organization. In our assessment of that organization, we would have our own thought process on what direction it should go. But now we're to the point where we understand it really doesn't matter once one level gets it, it's going to spread.
It spreads. And this is so great because what is spreading is critical thinking and emotional intelligence. That's what's spreading, this mental toughness, which is a hybrid of critical thinking and emotional intelligence. It's how to be under complete control, especially under pressure. It's how to handle conflict. And most conflicts are because of this, the conflict is really on the inside of each one of us. Our body, our mind, and our emotions are conflicting with each other, right? So, of course, we're going to conflict with somebody else who has a conflict with their body, mind, and emotions. So once you get yours under control, then the second piece is people whisperer, and that's when it gets really fun because once you get yourself under control, then you can go help others, and that's what a people whisperer does. We help others get out of their own way, and we accomplish the mission. We smooth out conflicts. We get through crises like nothing ever happened. I mean, it's solutions to problems on tap.
And I love it, man. I'm telling you, this is so fulfilling. When you hear the comments that we hear from the folks that we touch with this, it's they'll tell us it's life changing. They'll tell us it's career changing. We'll go on there when they're thinking they're coming to get their careers changed, and they'll tell us how their lives have changed.
Right.
Because they don't know on the front end. They don't know on the front end until we get a hold of them how it impacts their entire life, how we're talking about living your life in all 8 cylinders. They don't know how it's going to affect not just work relationships. We say relationships, not work relationships, not home relationships, not spiritual relationships, not physical relationships. We talk about, we say relationships because it's all encompassing. Everything's going to improve with the tools that we give you.
Right now, just imagine how much energy and stress you're putting on yourself in all those relationships to manage an image, to hide your emotions, to hide your anger, to hide your stress, to hide that conflict that's boiling under the surface, but you don't want to let them see you sweat. Imagine if you took that energy and got yourself under control, and then you went and helped people that you have relationships with instead of really what you're doing to them is lying. You're living a lie, and no wonder relationships are strained. I've had people like, they're sucking the life out of me. They're like, oh my gosh, that person's sucking the life out of me. Yeah, because you're working triple extra hard to put a facade on.
Absolutely. And then that's when it comes full circle and you realize that what's worse than that is you were lying to yourself.
Oh,
And so
ow. Oh,
and
Dutch. Did you have to
and
go
that
there,
is,
man?
that is 10 times more painful. And the bad part about that is you don't realize it as quickly as you realize
No.
the other stuff. That
No.
stuff can sneak up on you later, especially when you go get your checkup.
Yeah.
And you're stressed out because of work and all these different things, and you realize the root of it. And oh man, this was all on me. This is all my fault.
And that's a you stepped into something pretty big there, but that's really the crux of it, is that the average minded person is delusional and they delude themselves. And this is what we call cognitive dissonance in psychology. What happens is that you have an image, a self-image, not your self-esteem, not your identity of who you are, but your self-image, your reputation, your public life, that image that you put out there that you want everybody to see. So there's that image that you put of yourself out there, and then your behavior doesn't match up to that image. Okay? So what you do is then now you start making excuses and you justify and you delude yourself and you lie to yourself in order to bridge the gap between who you're putting yourself out to be and who you really are.
Absolutely.
Now,
And
what
yeah,
we
go ahead,
do,
go ahead.
well, I was going to say, what we do is we teach you to have the elite warrior mindset of, I change, my behavior to match up, not excuse it. To bridge that gap, what we do is we make actual changes from the inside out instead of trying to make excuses to bridge the gap from the outside to the inside. So what we're going to do is rearrange the inside. We're going to build a solid foundation from the inside, and then the bridge will go out, right, instead of trying to just lie to yourself.
And that's what you're doing. There's no other way to look at it. There's no other way to put it. That's exactly what you're doing. And again, the approach we take begins with us. So it's not a shocker to us, because it's something that we were going to tell you no matter what. Everything begins with you. Even if your issue is not this, every single issue begins with you.
And
again, there's no
every solution begins with you.
Absolutely. We're the problem and we're the solution. Again, once you get that, it's not a coincidence that we start out the very basic, the first step in the warrior culture is CEO of you. That's not a coincidence. That's not some cool name or some catchy phrase. That is truth. That is from the heart. That is from the root. That's the root of what we do. Everything begins there.
And it's completely backed up with science. There's nothing that we do that has not been already proven out, studied out, and there's actual evidence, scientific evidence, empirical data, however you want to put it. There's actual studies and research behind everything that we do. We're not just winging it. This isn't just motivational speaker junk. It's not just, pie in the sky. And you heard me say, positive thinking will get you killed faster than negative thinking, right? So it's not just positive thinking, it's critical thinking what we're teaching.
And you got to repeat that. You got to repeat that, because people seem to think positive is good, and we're not saying positive is not good. We're saying critical is better.
Right.
Because positive, like Andrew said, positive will get you killed.
Listen, at no time, Dutch, when I was deployed, to say to Afghanistan, did I walk up to the Taliban and was like, does somebody need a hug? If I just give them a hug, everything will be okay. Meanwhile, they got IEDs set up and they're, laying in, ambush with AK-47s and an RPG. No, that thinking like that will get you killed.
And we mean that literally. When we say critical, positive thinking, is it because that's another average-minded phrase. That's another thing that we were taught by mama and them, by pastor, by best friend, by girlfriend. Be a positive thinker. You got to think positively about this situation. No, that's an average-minded thing. No, you have to think critically about this situation. You have to go into a situation with a mindset that's going to allow you to think critically about everything, not positively, not negatively, critically.
Right, and I know there's a lot of people in the science realm, in the academic realm, right? Because I run with a lot of these folks, and then it's just funny because I ask them, they use the word critical thinking a lot, right? They bandy it about. And I'm like, all right, so tell me what your critical thinking matrix is. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah. Like, tell me what tell me your critical thinking. What are the steps you take? Do you have a process of how you think your thoughts? Tell me exactly what critical thinking is. I had MDs tell me I don't even know what that is. I'm like, see, this is why they call it practicing medicine, right? You're an MD, right? How do you not know this? Like, how do you not have a process for yourself? So I don't care how smart you are, how academic you are, even if you've been in the warrior culture or you're a first responder. I ain't afraid. I ain't intimidated by you. You tell me what your process is, how you think your thoughts, and what critical thinking actually means. And if you can't tell me, you need my help.
Absolutely. And it's simple. It's simple because the process is uniquely yours. It's customized to you, yourself, not anyone else's. Now you can take someone else's and adapt it to you until you make it your own. But that's exactly what you have to do. It has to be in some sense your own, because we all
you got to own it, and that's what we teach.
Right.
We teach a 4-step process until it's an autopilot program. Just like you drive in the car now, you drive the car. Right? When you first learned how to drive it, it was all herky-jerky. Now you drive it without even thinking about it. This is the same way about thinking your thoughts. We will teach you the 4-step. I make it 4. And actually, scientifically, there are at least 9 steps to the critical thinking process, which I find too unwieldy. I can't use it in real life, real time. It'll actually get you killed as well because it's getting too in the weeds. So we've developed a 4-step process. It's very simple. It's thinking like crap. If you don't know what it is, go get, the CEO of You seminar. It's on the website. You can get it. Join the coaching, do the phalanx. But that's the basis of everything we do. That's how you should think your thoughts. And then you don't have to worry about bottling up your emotions, because now what we did is we put our mind in the driver's seat in the boardroom.
And we're about simplicity. Because if you don't understand it, you don't grasp it, then we can't help you. Again, it's going to be basic. It's going to be straightforward. There's not going to be any weeds you got to get through. And we're going to walk you down that path. We're not going to just throw a bunch of stuff at you and leave you out in the jungle.
No, because you know what, Dutch? Because this is what I was taught in the Marine Corps, right? When I first got promoted as an NCO, I was a corporal. I began teaching these things, teaching leadership, and they were training. You go through military instruction school, right? So here's the thing that they always taught me: if the student fails to learn, it's because the teacher failed to teach. So that's our completely. People are like, what's your learning? What's your teaching philosophy? Here it is. If you don't learn it, it's because I failed. So that's how easy and simple we make it, and how much we will stay in there, in the trenches with you until you get it. Because if you don't get it, it's a failure on my part, not on yours as the student. Absolutely.
And we're not going to let you walk away without feeling like you have a complete understanding of what we're telling you. And you're going to be so blessed by this. I get so excited whenever people buy in. When I see people buy in, I talked about this on the conference call this week about my excitement to the buy-in when people buy in. I love it.
It's so awesome. All right, we're up against a break. I promised you guys science behind hiding your emotions. We will get to it. I have it. I got the data right in front of me. We'll go over it. You're listening to the Get Warrior Tough radio show with Andrew and Dutch.